Livewire is brought to you by Pristine Productions.
Yo. And I want to say, what up, guys? And welcome back to the show. I'm your mix engineer host here, Andrew Rayburn here, Mr. International graphic artist designer here, mix engineer and musician here. And welcome to the Livewire show here. So want to support me, guys? Make sure hit me up on YouTube here. And if you guys also want to donate here, you can go ahead and go on my PayPal, show some love here. I would take any amount here, and also join my Patreon here if you want exclusive access to professional content not easily found on YouTube here. And of course, guys, my merch is out here, so you can go ahead and buy yourself a t-shirt, man. Power of Prayer. I got some design. I got the gold Pristine Production gold design logo here. Be sure to check out my merch here. And of course, guys, you want to go on my website, and buy the latest beats, soca, dancehall, trap. Today we got a very special show here. We're continuing the adventures of YouTube here with Photoshop, Blur and Sharp, Volume 2 here, Master Photoshop. And I'm going to teach you guys how you can do some awesome cutouts and some nice design here. So let's get right down into it here. So now I'm going to go right into my Photoshop here. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to bring in my assets real quick. I know I've showed you guys earlier how to do that in the previous video. So I'm going to bring in this picture here. I'm just going to drag, pull that into Photoshop there, or you can do the import thing. So I'm going to let that load there. And let's bring in the background here. Pull that in. And I'm going to put that underneath the subject here. Because remember I taught you guys that you got to, whatever you're doing, if you put a layer on top of the one, it's going to be in front. If you put it at the bottom, it's going to be at the back. So remember I teach you guys? Selection, layer, and masking here. So let's get back into it here. So we got two subject here. We got the picture of this girl here, and we got the background here. So I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna hit Control T. We're gonna enlarge in the background here. So let me hit that Control T, and I'm gonna click and drag so we could cover up the region here. Go up here a little bit more. We're right about there would do. And then we have the subject here. Now today we're talking about Blur and Sharp here. We want to add depth to your composition. As I was showing earlier here, you can see that blur behind her, and you can see there's a color change here. And I'm going to get back. As you can see, this is original content here. So we're going to change the color here. And we're going to make some adjustments on her here. We're going to give her here a little bit different color. We're going to change the color of part of her garment. And we're going to create that depth. So let's get right down into it here. So I'm going to go here on my left. I'm going to go on the quick selection tool here. And this is Photoshop 2022. I'm going to go and select subject here. And Photoshop's going to do its thing. And it's going to make a selection of her. There it is right here. Control plus or minus to zoom in. So I'm going to go on select and mask. And you can see Photoshop did an amazing job on cutting this subject out. So 2022 and up, guys, the AI is crazy. So after we have used the select mask, we're going to come down here. And of course, we're going to go to output. I'm going to go on new layer. And I'm going to hit OK. And you can see she has been cut out very clean. But we can work it out. And let me go ahead and now, so we have the subject and the background here. So now let's get into changing the colors here. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm gonna bring her in here, and now I'm gonna go to the same quick selection here. And if I right click on that, it has object select. Now this is Photoshop 22, or you can use the 2023 object selection here. So I'm gonna see if I can select parts of her garment here. So let's see if I can select her here with object selection. Obviously it's only selecting her. Maybe if there was different stuff in the picture that would have worked, but that's okay. We'll go on a quick selection here. We're gonna zoom in, and I'm gonna drag around on her garment here. As you can see here, parts of her the selection is going on her skin. So what we can do, we want to hold the Alt key and paint back here, so we can get that selection back on her garment here. Let's go down here, see if we can make some selection here. And hold Alt so we can take out. We don't want to change the color for her hands or anything. We just want to affect the garment here. That's looking good there. And that's looking fine. Let me paint back in a little bit here. Now, whatever I select here is going to be affected. We're going to be changing the color now. So we have made a selection on a part of her garment here with the selection tool. And now we're going to change the color here without affecting the main picture here. Indestructible move, they call it. So let's get back on Photoshop here. Now I'm going to go down on the little middle icon here that says, this is the one that's adjustment layer here. And I'm going to go on hue and saturation. Photoshop is going to create an adjustment layer with selection that we did earlier here. Now I'm going to just go on hue and saturation. I'm going to slide to the right here. I'm going to slide to the left. Let me zoom out a little bit. Take the slider up here so you can see. So I can change to whatever color I want. Maybe that color there. Maybe there's one here. And I can adjust the lightness here of that color. The saturation amount. And check this out. Since we're working on the adjustment layer right here, we can change the blend mode here. And check this out. Photoshop's going to show you how the blend mode affects the colors here. I can go down to color. I can go to normal. We're going to use color here. Multiply, color burn. I'm going to go on color. I'm going to double click on that adjustment layer, and I'm going to adjust the lightness here. Go back on normal, and I'm going to adjust the lightness so we can darken that color a little bit there. Now it's up to you to select whatever color blend you want. Now let's go ahead and select another part of a garment here. So I'm still on the selection tool, and I'm just going to paint over this area here. And I'm gonna hold Alt key and paint down so we don't affect too much of the part. Go over here. And I'm gonna go down to this click option here. I'm gonna go on hue saturation here again. Photoshop creates another mask, and I'm moving the slider here. And there we are. We've changed the color here. Now let's get this image a little bit sharper here. So I'm gonna zoom in here on her. Make sure, guys, you select the layer that you want to affect. You can quickly get carried away. You might say, why is it not changing color? Why is it not getting sharp? Make sure you're selecting the layer. So I'm gonna go right here on this tool here. There it is, sharpen tool. We can use that and paint over. I'm gonna zoom in a little. I can paint over her eyes, lips. It's gonna make her sharper. Now the only thing with this here, if you do it this way, it's kind of hard to reverse. I'm gonna Control Z here, and we're gonna use the adjustments here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna click on filter, and we're gonna convert her to a smart object. Now this is gonna allow us to add the effects on her, and also we can adjust that effects real time, so it's reversible. So I'm gonna click smart object here, and I'm gonna go on filter, and I'm gonna go on stylize. I'm gonna go up here, sharpen, on sharp mask here. So we can adjust the slider, how much intensity we want her to be sharp. So she's getting more sharpness here. That's a little bit too much. It's getting sharpness and contrast. And it's more easy that way, because if you check this out right down here, there, as you can see, because she's a smart object, I can double click on it, and I can always go back and adjust the sharpness there. Now to make that background blur here, I'm gonna click on the background here, and I'm gonna go to it's already a smart object, so I'm gonna go to filter, go to blur, Gaussian blur, and if I move the slider to the right, it blurs the background. No, you don't want to go too hard. You want to make it look natural here. So I'm going to be pushing it up. Maybe right about here. I'm going to hit OK. And now we have a blur background. I can preview that off and on. So what we did, we've added sharpness to her image, giving her a little more HD 4K look. And we've turned her into a smart object. For simply go and filter, convert a smart object that allows you to put effects on that layer, and later on adjust it real time, so it's not irreversible. Then went ahead and I went on the background and simply blur it out with as a smart object.